What's up, everybody, man? Welcome to another episode of CG Ruthless, man. We got my special guest. It's been a long time, man. Marc Adams from 400ers Camelot,
It
man. How's
has
it going?
been. Yeah, it's been a while, just trying to like mostly what I do is write. So for 49ers Web Zone, I write more than I talk. And there's a lot of content creators out there like you that do this all the time. I'm lucky to get one in a week. But I do a weekly show for the most part with Anthony Robertson of 49ers Cutback. And other than that, I don't do a ton of this. I spend more time writing than talking, which probably is good because how many people want to see this face,
I mean, you look like Kevin James, man. Let's be honest.
Hey, I've actually lost like 20 pounds, so I can't look as much like him.
But I still got a long ways to reach for that goal, too. But yeah, I see that you do a show once out of the week. I mean, I get it. It's cool. Would be kind of nice to have him on the show, but it doesn't seem like he gets back to me. So maybe down the road when things start slowing down.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, because I mean, when it comes down to it, all you do is do a lot of writings and all that articles. I tend to read a lot of your stuff from time to time.
Appreciate that.
But I know you haven't been watching much of the draft. So what do you think? What do you take back from last season with the Niners that kind of stood out?
Well, I like that. I like that they really were all in on defense. Because the offense kind of stands on its own since 2023. I think that's been the stronger point of the team. But I don't know. I wish that they. I don't know. Like, I like Michael Williams, and at the beginning of the season when Nick Bosa was healthy, I felt like he played really well. But once Bosa was out, Michael wasn't making the kind of impact that I would hope. And so I really was like, I just think that your first rounder should be somebody who's really impactful, and maybe Michael will be, but I didn't feel like last season he was. And so partly it's because of the Bosa injury, I think, and then partly it's because Michael had that injury himself and missed the rest of the season. But I'm hoping that he can come back healthy and make an impact. I liked Alfred Collins and CJ West. I think that it took them a little bit of time to get rolling, but Alfred Collins especially made an impact. Upton Stout, really like him. I think that he's going to be a good one. The two Jordans, whether it's Jordan James or Jordan Watkins, I don't know. Kyle just he definitely doesn't like rookie receivers unless that receiver is named Deebo Samuel. But
or at least if they're higher picks or something.
Yeah, and so I mean Ricky Pearsall, he did play some his rookie year, but he had so many things with the gunshot and everything.
Yeah. But I mean, he was starting off good in the beginning part, and then he got hurt.
Yeah, yeah.
It was progress, but like you said, Kyle doesn't play a lot of these young rookie receivers. If you're like a late round pick, forget about it. You ain't gonna get on the football field.
And like, to me, if they weren't going to use Brian Robinson very much, then why was he there? Because to me, I was like, all right, he could be a great compliment to Christian McCaffrey as you're trying to, move the ball. You've worn out the defense. Now you got a bigger body that can come in, and I mean, not that he's that big, but bigger than McCaffrey. And but I think that Jordan James does some of the McCaffrey type stuff, and I would rather have seen him than Brian Robinson down the stretch last season.
Yeah, I thought Jordan James, if he wasn't injured, I thought he would have been a guy to make progress. I thought Garando could have made progress, but he was hurt too. So it was like they were just looking for other running back options, man. They were coming up with injuries during that training camp. Remember during training camp they were having injuries at wide receiver and running back and other spots?
Yeah, I don't know what's up with Garando. His rookie season, he wasn't much of a threat in the run game. He just doesn't have good vision, runs into his offensive lineman a lot. But in the passing game, that guy can be a real threat. And so I hope that they would use him that way. But I guess it's like if you use Isaac Guerrero, everybody's going to know that he's in there to, to go out and get a pass thrown his way. He's not much of a threat to run the ball. And so maybe that's why Kyle didn't use him. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there was some kind of injury. I don't remember hearing that there was, but I just think that he fell out of favor.
He must have fallen out of favor or some ways. And plus he just had trouble holding onto the ball too.
Yeah. And you can remember in the beginning of the season, they used him on kickoff return, and he was like that should be his thing, because he's got this great speed, and all he's doing is running into his blockers. And so I can remember going, oh my gosh, get him out of there. And so definitely Sky Moore was an upgrade, whether it was punt return or kick return. And so now they've got to figure that out again.
I'm hoping that this could be where they can have Guerrero finally develop at least. I mean, I feel like you're wasting talent on this guy when he can actually give you some, like you said, he's not quite much of a good runner when it comes to the blocking sometimes, but when it comes to the backfield, he can move the chains a lot better. What Jordan James does, because what I've seen in college coming out of Oregon, he's not fast, he's not big, but he has good patience on the holes. He can catch the ball off the backfield. He's kind of exactly what Bucky Irving was, but if not a little bit better, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's the interesting thing. I thought, and when I have done the Red and Bold show with Anthony Robertson, we talked about this for the last few years, really, that I thought that Kyle Shanahan's ultimate backup to Christian McCaffrey was gosh dang it, his name just slipped me. Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
Because Mitchell is really good at finding those holes. He rarely gets stopped for a loss, and the guy has never fumbled. And so I felt like that's what Kyle Shanahan kind of had in mind. Mitchell can catch the ball out of the backfield. That, all right, when it's in the fourth quarter and we're trying to put the game away, let's put Mitchell in there. He's not going to put the ball on the ground. He's going to consistently pick up yards. He's not as dynamic as McCaffrey, but he can milk the clock. So that's what I thought.
That's what they're missing there. I mean, even when Mitchell was there, he couldn't stay healthy.
Right. So I thought that's kind of what they're going to be going after. But then Kyle here recently said that when it comes to a number 2 running back, he really is looking for somebody that can do what McCaffrey does. And so that kind of changed my thinking a little bit from what I thought was Kyle's focus to now, okay, so he's looking for like McCaffrey 2.0 to be McCaffrey's backup. And so I don't know if Jordan James is that. I hear that they're really interested in Mike Washington from Arkansas.
Oh, that dude's another, he's got speed, all the other stuff that you're looking for, but it's like one thing about him is I don't think he's quite a good pass blocker.
Yeah, and I don't know I don't know what he's like out of the backfield, but he's a good running back for sure.
Yeah, he's got that speed that you're looking for. He's got he's kind of just like exactly how you look at Isaac Guerrero. Guerrero's got the size and speed. The only knock on Mike Williams from watching from Arkansas was he wasn't quite much of a receiving back.
Yeah, and that could be true. And if that's the case, then I'm surprised to know that they're looking so closely at him because of what Kyle said at the NFL meetings when he was talking about he wants somebody that can do what McCaffrey does, because Brian Robinson didn't. And there were times that he called plays and then Robinson was on the field and it's like, well, we can't do what I just called. And so it was kind of like that play. I remember, I think it was 2024 when Kyle called a play that was a Deebo Samuel play. but Debo wasn't on the field because maybe he was nicked up or something. And so the play went to Juwan Jennings, and it was some kind of end around thing, and it was a disaster. And so, I mean, Jennings can do the end around when he's going to throw the ball, but when he's doing the Debo thing, no.
No, it's a different kind of talent-wise. I mean, I get what he's looking for. Like, let's say McCaffrey needs a breather and you want to make a play similar to McCaffrey. Like, let's say you want to do like one of those Texas route plays or one of those little type of run plays where McCaffrey's good at. You want to get somebody that runs exactly the same, but not like the same, but at least close enough to where he can do exactly similar. Like, the only running back that I've come away with in the draft, looking like deeper, was this kid from Oklahoma. Like, I think he does bring a lot to the table. The knock on him was when he transferred to Oklahoma, he just wasn't quite getting much of the touches, but usually those running backs with less touches and means less wear and tear. And he's a good receiving back.
And Oklahoma has a big stable of backs, and they really, I mean, obviously when Adrian Peterson was there, he was the guy, but since then, I mean, they're having, like, even when they had Trey Sermon, he wasn't the main guy. I mean, he shared the backfield. And so they kind of, I feel like over the last several years have been kind of running back by committee. And so you watch them one week and one guy's the leading rusher, and then the next week it might be a different guy. So,
or it could just be the quarterback scrambling. It's like,
yeah,
you get one of those type of situation, but Oklahoma just hasn't had really much of the same production. Like, even when they had Mixon and P-Ron, they were good two-headed backs. But you look at their current stable, but I think Jaden Ott, when he was playing at California, everybody was suggesting me to watch his tape. And what I saw from his tape was he's quite a good pass blocker. He's quite a good receiving back. Like, he can catch the ball at the backfield. He's got patience on the hole, But I think if you're going to get him in a certain spot, maybe day 3 would be your option. There's upside.
Yeah.
You want somebody close to a McCaffrey, right? This kid checks the boxes. It's just what he did in Oklahoma wasn't getting much opportunities. But what he did at the Senior Bowl stood out.
Yeah. Well, or if he doesn't go drafted, maybe they bring him in as an undrafted free agent. But it sounds like he'll probably get drafted, I would assume.
I think so. Remember how that one guy from the Commanders got drafted? I forget his name, but he stood out during the Senior Bowl or something, or the East-West Shrine game.
Yeah.
Forget his name, but he was from Arizona. He was like one of the guys that had limited touches there too, had maybe 100 yards, but only the one game he had during that season was probably one of his best tapes, and then the rest of it was more like he had a game on the Senior Bowl or whatever it was, and he did pretty good.
Hey, did I ever tell you about when I went to it's the only OU game that I've ever been to, and it was in Norman, and I was there with a buddy who is like, he's like really super Oklahoma Sooners fan, and so he knows everything about all the players. Okay. And so I'm there, and all of a sudden I see this guy come on the field, and he was wearing number 28. And back then, Oklahoma had this superstar punt returner. You probably remember his name. I can't think of his name right now, but he set an NCAA record for most punt returns for a touchdown. And I can't remember his name, but anyway, I saw 28 coming on the field, and I was like, why is he coming in on offense? And the crowd is just going nuts. And my friend goes, that's not him. That's their freshman running back. And this was the first game of the season. And I was like, the freshman running back, what's his name? And he said, his name's Adrian Peterson. And
that guy
he went off that day. And it was so fun to see him really throughout his whole career at Oklahoma. And then in the NFL, the guy was just unreal. But that was pretty cool to be at his very first college game.
That's a good story, because I mean, you didn't know who he was before, and then you just didn't. Now you're starting to see him as a big time name.
I had remembered hearing the news, that they signed this 5-star running back out of Texas or something.
Oh, McKinney, Texas.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know that guy because I don't follow college or high school football in Texas, um, but that was pretty interesting. But I need to figure out who that punt returner was because man, that guy was so good. But then he really didn't do much in the NFL, which we also saw in San Francisco with Dante Pettis, who was one of the elite college football punt returners, but couldn't do it in the NFL. And then last year, the 49ers drafted Junior Bergen, who was uh, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, punt returner in college football history. And he didn't even make the team. They had to bring him back on the practice squad.
I think I know which returner you're talking about. Is his name Jalen Saunders? Because I think he was the one
No,
that transferred to Fresno State and went to Oklahoma and did some return kicks.
no, this was before that. This would have been Adrian Peterson's freshman year. I'll look it up real quick.
Because I know there was a transfer. There was Brian Broyles, who was a good receiver coming out of there too.
Yeah, this was before that.
Oh, before.
Um,
Man, I mean, a lot of these good returners way back, man, but they didn't do too much at the NFL level.
yeah, that happens. I mean, Antonio Perkins, that's who it was.
Oh yeah, huh? Antonio Perkins, huh?
Yeah, he set the record for the most punt returns for a touchdown in college football, and then I think that Dante Pettis tied that record, and then Junior Bergen broke the record. If I remember.
Pettis was quite a good returner in college, but when he got to play more, when he got to showcase much on offense, he was showcasing those good route running ability with those legs, those crazy stanky legs.
Yeah,
the only downside on Pettis was he was just more afraid of contact. That's what it seemed like.
Well, in the NFL, they're faster, they're bigger, they hit harder, so I can understand that.
Yeah, but it's like some of these returners have the skill set. Depends on which one you get. But usually the one returners that do pretty well at the next level are the ones who haven't been quite used much in college doing that. They usually have to be one of those late round guys. Like, let's say this is a wide receiver, right? Let's say it's like a wide receiver like Antonio Brown, right? Remember when he came out of he came out of Central Michigan, but I think he started off contributed as a returner before.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's where he made his name.
Yep.
Was Devin Hester a big name?
Nah. No, not till he started becoming the NFL's best.
But since we're kind of like looking for that next returner, here's a guy that you might have to look into. I don't know, like you haven't watched much college football for quite a while, right?
Yeah, on Saturdays I cover the 49ers for 49ers Web Zone, so that means that whenever there's news going on and during the NFL season and college season as well, there's always 49ers news. And so I cover that on Saturday. So I don't watch a lot of college football. I used to watch a ton and I knew all of the players, but it's not really been that way the last handful of years.
There's a couple good returners that I looked into. Like there's another kid from Montana also that just played the same college but can be a good returner also than this kid from Iowa. And then if we were going into day 3, I think Deion Burks would be the perfect return guy. He's a gadget player. He comes from Oklahoma, runs a 4.3 flat.
Yeah, he's a really good receiver.
Yeah, he kind of has versatility to play any other spots. Like, I think when it comes to gadget plays, he's very effective. And if you need him to return kicks, he can break tackles. This guy benched like I think 26 reps, if I'm mistaken, for a small receiver.
Wow. Yeah, I like Deion Burks. I remember him at Arkansas, and then he went to OU.
No, he went to Purdue.
He went to Purdue from Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think you're referring to a different receiver who came from Arkansas. I forget his name.
Oh, okay. I thought that was who was that then?
Try to think of it. It's another receiver.
Was his name Burks?
No, Burks is the one who came from Purdue.
So you're talking about Deion Burks, right?
Yeah, Deion Burks. It says he came from Purdue. He was quite effective receiver, and then they got him off the transfer.
Yeah, where did who am I thinking about?
He actually, the receiver like the one that you're talking about who came from Arkansas is another receiver also, but he was the one that transferred from Arkansas. I forget his name too, but he's another receiver. I think he was our leading receiver last year.
Yeah, I think that's gonna bug me. Now that I'm getting old, I forget things more, and then it bugs me, and
No,
so I
but
have to.
yeah, but he's got a lot of the skill set you're looking for. But I think when it comes down to it, man, I think day 3 you're kind of looking for that one guy, or you're hoping maybe undrafted you find that guy.
Yeah, so Mike Woods transferred from Arkansas to OU in 2021, but looks like Isaiah Satanga is.
Satanga. There you go. Satanga. I think he was our leading receiver.
That's not the one that I was thinking of.
Deion Burks is the one you're talking about. He went to Purdue.
So he was at Purdue and then Oklahoma.
Yep.
That must be what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Patango, whatever the guy you're talking about, yeah, he was a leading receiver last year for us.
Oh, wait, Treylon Burks. That's who I was thinking of that was with Arkansas. He didn't go to OU, though.
But he was from Arkansas. Yeah, he was technically a poor man Deebo Samuel, just a big size, but never panned out.
Yeah, isn't he the guy that he went to the Titans and now he's with somebody else?
Never replaced A.J. Brown's production. They made that trade look like a foolish trade.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I thought Burks could have been good, but he just never quite worked out.
But I think that the 49ers, I wrote an article over the weekend talking about that it kind of seems like John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have a type. So I looked at their last, they've had 9 drafts, and of all the players that they've drafted in the first and second round, 10 of those were either defensive line or wide receiver. And so it left like quarterback. So that was Trey Lance, of course, Aaron Banks, Mike McGlinchey. Seems like there was one other position. Oh, Reuben Foster. And so there were only 4 players drafted in the first or second round that weren't defensive line or wide receiver. So the question is, are they going to stick with how they normally do? We know that they need an edge rusher. They may think they need a defensive tackle as well. We're hearing them connected to a lot of receivers, and so you look at a guy like Casey Concepcion who can return punts. That's something that they need. That could be somebody they take at 27, and then will they go defensive line like an edge rush in round 2, or are they going to go edge rush in the first round with like Cassius Howell or R. Mason Thomas or somebody like that? So I'm interested to see what they do, if they're going to stay kind of with that thing that they've been doing, or if they're going to go a completely different route.
I think whatever the route seems like, but everybody keeps thinking it's receiver. And I think if I'm guessing, I'm thinking pass rusher, because they just need that one guy to be the one that can just rotate in and just relieve and then do different package plays like they did with Bryce Huff.
Yeah. Yeah, and you think R. Mason Thomas will go that high?
I think that's the crazy part. I don't know if he would be as high as everybody's draft board, but I would not be against it because he does everything that's necessary. But would the 49ers even reach at him? Or I don't know about that. Maybe 58 they would get him. But I would think realistically, like the draft board, like if we're gonna go by how they look at R. Mason Thomas, they might just prefer to go with wide receiver first if they're going that route, and then maybe hope and pray that 58 spot is where R. Mason Thomas is at, and maybe that's where they take him.
Yeah, I just don't know if he's going to last that long.
That's the tricky part.
I think some people have said Cassius Howell in the first round, and then the Indiana receiver in the second round. But I don't think I can't think of his name, but I don't think he's going to go.
He's going to be gone. Omar.
Yeah, he's not going to last.
But the other one's slow, but kind of a good possession receiver. He's a good contestant catcher. That's another Indiana receiver. They call They call him Elijah Surratt. He kind of wins up contesting catches.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's the name that I'm forgetting? The the guy that they say is like mini Debo.
Oh, Mini Debo. Oh, you're talking about. Are you talking about the one from Indiana?
Yeah.
Oh, Omar Cooper. That
Yeah,
dude breaks
yeah, yeah.
tackles.
Yeah.
Oh,
I could see Kyle being like, "Hey, I'm taking this guy. This is my
he's a
next
yak guy.
Debo," but I just don't know that the first round that they'll do that.
No, I think the crazy part about this draft is they have him high on the board, so he might not even be on the Niners clock.
Yeah. Yeah,
So yeah,
that's true.
I think he might like from his draft board, he might go in between where the Buffalo Bills are at, or if he somehow is on the Niners draft board, I don't think they hesitate. I think they take him, no question.
Yeah, and I see in the chat, Crazy Juice says
Yeah.
we could trade back on our 27th pick and get
That
two
would be
more.
obvious.
That's something that I could see them doing, because then they might be able to get somebody like Omar Cooper Jr. and then still get our Mason Thomas.
See, yeah, if they can do that, like if they can trade down a spot, but I think Cooper's gone, bro. Like I don't think
You think he's going to go in the first round?
because of what because if you look at how he stood out during the Senior Bowls and all the
Mhm.
combines, everybody's
Yeah.
talking about like like you're talking about how they call this guy Mini Debo, right? There's not many Debo Samuels.
Yeah, for sure.
He is the next one. This is the next Debo Samuel. He's gonna be in the top 20 or 15 pick.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a team that's gonna take him because they want to incorporate what Kyle Shanahan's done. So they're gonna look for that next Debo Samuel, and Omar Cooper just happens to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think another team's gonna want to see this guy slide towards the Niners?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to want him to end up with Kyle Shanahan.
Exactly. I think
but
there's going to be a team doing that.
Is Omar Cooper going to be Debo Samuel? I mean, Debo was just such a unique. I'm talking about him like he's dead or something, but
oh no, Debo Samuel is such a unique. He's a unique chess piece.
Yeah, going back to especially like 2021, where he just. I mean, everybody wanted a Debo after that, but he was one of one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Omar Cooper can be that guy in the NFL. He was in college, but
what he did at Indiana was pretty impressive, and he's not afraid of contact. So when you get this guy, he's making tackles. He can do different type of stuff. Like if you want your next Debo, Omar Cooper is more than just your next Debo. He can actually, this might sound like a crazy combination. I'm going to say he is Brandon Ayuk with Debo Samuel all in one. Because he can run routes.
That could be. Yeah, and that was Debo's weakness, of course.
He wasn't quite a route runner, but Ayuk could do that.
Yeah, Ayuk was smooth, man. He was, especially like 2023, he was so good.
Yeah.
And I think, had he not got injured in 2024, I think right before that, he had a big game where it looked like, hey, Ayuk is back, but who knows? I don't know the inner workings of all that stuff. Something went wrong at some point,
which we're not aware of. But but honestly, he could have figured out some way to work it out, but he just, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But when you watch Omar Cooper's tape, there's more of his game that actually just proves that he's just more than a gadget player. Like when he runs routes, he can be like a step ahead of these cornerbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's different ways how you can use him, but Concepcion, he can do all of everything. Like if you want him to do some jet sweeps and other stuff, he can do that. If you need him to throw in some passes, he's one of the best separators in this draft.
Yeah, I could definitely see them going that direction, but I don't know. I still lean more toward pass rush, like the edge rush at that position. At pick 27. I've heard some people saying that they might pick a guard. I would be shocked if they went with a guard in the first round, though.
Getting a guard in the first round is very rare by this regime. It's like,
yeah, they've
one of the
never
last
done
they
it. I
got
mean,
alignment, right?
Aaron Banks was a second rounder. That's the highest that they've drafted a guard. McGlinchey was the tackle,
Yeah,
and that's the highest that they've drafted any offensive lineman. But
yeah.
when Harbaugh, well, actually, it was before Harbaugh. It was 2010. They had they drafted
Mike
Anthony
Iupati,
Davis and Mike Iupati in the same, both in the first round. But Mike Iupati wasn't the average guard.
he was
There's
great.
no Mike Iupatis in this draft that I am aware of.
Nah.
If there was, and he's at 27, then yeah, I'd be all about that.
Well, the closest one that you can get to a Mike Iupati is that Vega kid from Penn State, but he'll be gone.
Yeah, probably so.
No, because this guy is a good mauler from Penn State. Like, if he somehow slides, there's no question about it. This guy would make it pretty simple. You have Trent and him on the same side, you're screwed.
Yeah. That would be fun to watch.
There's not many of Mike Iupatis, but I think he's a close second, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
When you look at certain like receivers, like from a standpoint, like I think this can be a crazy hot take. I think if we don't go receiver in the first round, I think in the second round, this is where Kyle pulls up his little trick off his sleeves. There's going to be a receiver that might just get people scratching their head a little bit. I think Zachariah Branch might be the guy he wants because if you see what he did at Georgia, there was a lot of desire on the tape. But if anybody knows how to scheme up pretty well for a player of his caliber, who would know best? Kyle Shanahan. Zachariah Branch has that skill set that can translate pretty well.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with him, but I saw, gosh, who's that receiver? There was somebody. Let me look because I just saw this the other day.
But from a skill set standpoint, I think how Kyle can make this guy good, man. He can make him as like the second coming of Tyreek Hill, the way his skill set looks like.
Yeah,
He's
that would
Cliff
be
Branch's nephew.
Whose?
Zachariah Branch is Cliff Branch's nephew.
Really? Wow. Gosh, that's a name from the past right there.
And he's got speed too.
Yeah, I can't remember this.
Well, there is Trey Lance's brother.
Yeah, I've heard
Bryce.
I've heard a lot of people talking about him, and
that would be hilarious if we do get him in the second round and our fans just have some mixed feelings.
Yeah, and then what if he wears number five and you got Lance on the back of it, and all the people who bought the Trey Lance jersey would get to bring that one out again. So right. Yeah,
or
that would be pretty funny.
Or I might have to go look for a clearance Trey Lance jersey and see if they still sell those.
That would be good.
Oh, I like this one. So Crazy Juice likes Ted Hurst. I think Ted Hurst has solid speed. He's a pretty tall receiver. Heard
good things about him.
But the offensive lineman from Iowa, they got three good ones. Like Bo Stevens and Gettings Dunker and Logan Jones are pretty good this year.
Yeah, that receiver I was thinking about is Chris Brazzell.
Ooh, the Tennessee receiver, the 6'5" guy.
Yeah.
He kind of seems like a vertical receiver. Like he can get you some big plays.
Yeah, I know. I know that there are a lot of I think maybe John Chapman. I think I heard him talking about him. Maybe Larry Krueger. So I think that there are some guys out there who are really talking this guy up. So that would be interesting to see. You're not?
I'm not really too high on him because when I watch his tape, yeah, he can get you some big plays, but he doesn't break tackles. He doesn't quite I don't think he's quite a good blocker.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to make it hard for Kyle to put him on the field.
Yeah, Kyle definitely wants his receivers. I mean, you saw last season when the receivers weren't blocking like they have been. Even Jawan Jennings, who was the best blocking wide receiver in the league, and you go back to 2023 when you had Jennings, the best blocking wide receiver in the league, and Ayuk, maybe the second best blocking wide receiver in the
And
league.
they were on the field.
And you looked at the run game and the yak game, and since Ayuk has been gone and since Jennings hasn't been quite that blocking guy, they've suffered in both of those areas. So, and Kyle mentioned those things this offseason. So I think that I think you could be right. I think he probably wants to get back to that.
I mean, there's a couple receivers if you're looking for size that can block. Jacoby Lane from USC. He's a 6'4" receiver, about 200 pounds, but when you watch his game, he can block.
Yeah.
I mean, you want a tall red zone receiver, right? But you want a guy who can block. This guy can block. When it comes down to it, like, this may sound crazy, but Bryce Lance can actually block.
Yeah, I did hear that. I heard that that's part of his game.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be a shocker if they somehow find a way to get this kid. Like, can you imagine if John Lynch kind of lived up to his word and say, yeah, one day we'll draft his brother? Because he said it in 2021, remember? He said something about wanting his brother.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be really, really crazy if they did that.
Yeah, even David Lombardi said that would be one of the most hilarious draft history.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised Jennings hasn't been signed because he's been asking too much for the price. Like, sometimes you should have just signed what you had.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
he
I like
wants more than he's worth.
What I do like about Bryce Lance is he can block and he can if you can scheme up a play where he can be open in space, yeah, you can get some nice big plays out of that guy.
Yeah.
He's quite a good contesting catcher too at times. But when it comes to a pass rusher, I think they're going to because if you look at how Raheem Morris kind of looks at players that would fit the mold, like last year they got Jalen Walker and James Pierce. Those are like speed rushers.
Mm-hmm.
The only one I can think of that would fit the description, it would either be Cassius Howell, R. Mason Thomas, or Malachi Lawrence. Those are the ones that would fit the mold. And my last but not least deep sleeper, it would be Derek Moore, another one. Those are like the ideal fits.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to do something there. I just think that they, having being last in the league in sacks is too much of a strain on your secondary, and they have to do something to create more pressure. And I think that some of the moves they've made this offseason probably will help, but still, and obviously getting Nick Bosa back. But you never know. This is his second ACL in the NFL. So how's he going to come back? How's he going to respond? He's starting to get older. Obviously, he's not old, but, so you just wonder how he's going to come back. So I definitely think that they have to go get the best pass rusher that you can and bring that guy in.
Well, he has to be able to fit the scheme too, so that's another key about him. I've heard a lot of hype on Kendrick Falk. I don't know about that guy. It seemed like another Mikael Williams to me.
Yeah, I think that they're probably going to go speed off the edge. I just think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, your perfect ideal fit would either be Cassius Howells, which he may not be the biggest size, but he has that good get off. R. Mason Thomas has the best get off in the draft. Like he's like they even have a comparison of him being D Ford. If we're gonna get the prime D Ford, then give me R. Mason Thomas at this point.
Yeah, and hopefully he doesn't have a back like D Ford.
Yeah. Without the back issue for this one,
Yeah.
I would say. But if we can get that guy, please let me get that guy. But Zion Young, the thing with him is you got the talent you're looking for, but this regime kind of doesn't tolerate these type of issues anymore. So when a guy like him got busted in January, doesn't that kind of leave you a red flag and say, is this guy going to be trusted going into the season?
Yeah. Yeah, especially, at the end of the college football season when you're now focused on the draft, that's when you expect them to stay out of trouble more than
Yeah,
even when they're in school. So yeah, that could be a red flag. But at the same time, you know, they have to. I just think that Reuben Foster screwed him up on that. But not
yeah,
every guy with some baggage is going to be like Reuben Foster was, and I don't really know. I mean, part of his situation was that girlfriend. That whole
yeah.
issue, but
A lot of dramatic
um,
issues, but
yeah. So not everybody's going to have those kinds of things.
but
Maybe they need some troublemakers in there. I don't
yeah,
know.
somebody who's reckless, but but Zion Young to me, like if we want to hit the swings, I would say he would probably be your gamble one because one, he could either pay off or he can be the reason why your season is what it is. But I see a lot of like similarities between him and Alden Smith a little bit. It's just, do you want to go back in time and get the same exact guy from Missouri, but with just another baggage issue? I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what was so tough because Alden was so great and could have been one of the best, but just couldn't get those demons to stop, getting in the way. But
Yeah, and it seems like
hopefully he's
Zion
better.
Young has potential,
Yeah, definitely.
but when you look at like you said, there's a possibility we still might get D tackles. Like it would be a shocker. Would it be a shocker if we get one of the first round?
No, not at all. I think the fan base would probably, not be as excited because I think that most of the fans want somebody on the edge when it comes to defensive line. But if they draft some difference maker inside, then nobody's going to have a problem with that. But it's just you look at Michael Williams, who was injured. You look at Javon Kinlaw, who was for the most part a bust. Um, and so they haven't been great at defensive tackle in the first round. So
For quite a while, yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, there's a couple of good ones that you can probably, you know what, if you draft him, he could be your plug-in starter or he could be nice on your rotation. But I can only think of a couple guys. The guy from Ohio State, Caden McDonald, somebody I'm hearing about, and then Christian Miller is a guy who played with Mikael Williams. There's that continuity right there. And
Hmm.
then the Clemson kid, Peter Woods, if he's available or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if we want to wait until day 2, I got one in mind that can catch somebody by surprise, man. Grayson Holton from Oklahoma could be that guy. He's like that undersized D tackle, but he can get to the quarterback.
Yeah, he's a difference maker for sure.
Yeah, because when you watch Oklahoma's defense, you see R. Mason Thomas and Grayson Holton disrupting plays and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that was a really really good defense. So
Yeah.
both of those guys would be good picks at some point.
And then you look secondary like safety, that might be something we might want to look to improve also because do we feel confident with Jair Brown being that starter?
No, I don't want Jair Brown starting anymore.
Yeah, he's more like a linebacker, just safety at this point. It's just too slow to react on his coverage, but there is a couple of guys that I might be okay with. The guy from South Carolina is somebody I like. His versatility is pretty good. Kilgore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
I'm not really familiar with him.
it's got
I can't.
versatility.
Yeah.
And then there's Robert Spears Jennings, one from Oklahoma that you can get day 3. He
Mm-hmm.
ran a 4.23. Well, no 4.32.
Yeah.
Quick as hell, but he can tackle.
Yeah, he's one that I definitely think that they should look at, especially when you look at that free safety position. I'd love to see him get an Earl Thomas kind of guy back there, but they seem to like having their safeties be where they can, where they can play in the box, where they can play back, and I'd rather see them, have Mustafa be that Cam Chancellor type, and then have somebody that's the Earl Thomas type. But
Yeah, there's this kid from Texas, which I'm not a big fan of, but Michael Tapp has the good ball skills. He can really make some plays.
yeah.
Very smart and savvy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're talking about a kid from Penn State, man, there's another guy from Penn State that it may come from the Jair Brown College, but this kid, Wheatley, whatever his name is, he makes plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that OU safety,
Robert
that would
Spears
probably be,
Jennings.
yeah, he would probably be my pick.
Oh,
And
sleeper, man. This guy has nose for the ball. He can do everything. Like if you want him to play nickel, he can do that, but he's more of a free safety and he can play the box also, different ways.
Yeah. Well, hey man, it's been fun talking to you. Like you said, it's been a long time, and I've enjoyed this.
All right.
I appreciate you having me on.
Oh yeah,
It's
anytime,
always
bro.
good talking. Like you're doing a good job getting some of these college players on, and it's always fun to see who you're running down and getting them to come on and talk ball with you.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a good time, man. We'll catch up sometime, man. I know you got something to do, man. And for everybody else, tell them where they can find your social media platform and we'll end on a high note.
Yeah, you can find me. You can find my writing stuff at 49ers Web Zone. You can find me on X or YouTube, wherever, at 49ers Camelot.
All right, man. For everybody else, go check out 49ers Camelot, man. Go follow Marc Andrews on X and whatever platform he goes on, man. But for everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in.